Good evening, Facebook friends and YouTube followers. This is Rich again, back with your fourth and final video blog of the night for August 11, 2014, Monday night around 9 p.m. And my fourth and final video blog of the night, what if the 1994 MLB season wasn't interrupted because of a strike? 20 years ago tomorrow was the infamous start of the 1994 Major League Baseball strike that wiped out the rest of the 1994 season, including the playoffs and the World Series. This was the first time since 1904 that no World Series champion was crowned, and the strike continued on into April of 1995. A lot of stuff could have happened if the strike never happened, if they got the strike never to happen and stuff like that. I did some predictions for that. I had my crystal ball. What if the 1994 MLB baseball strike never occurred? I have my things. I think this would have happened. The AL East champions would have been the New York Yankees with a record of 98 wins and 64 losses. The AL Central champions would have been the Chicago White Sox with 90 wins and 72 losses. The AL West champions would have been the Texas Rangers with a record of 73 and 89. That would have been the first MLB team to win a division with a losing record, and it would be way under 500. But the AL West that year was horrible. The AL wildcard would have been the Cleveland Indians with the record of 88 wins and 74 losses. The NL East champions would have been the Montreal Expos. They would have won 102 games and 60 losses, had the best record in Major League Baseball that year. The NL Central champions would have been the Houston Astros with the record of 87 wins and 75 losses. They were a half game out when the strike ended, but I think they would have had the momentum to beat Cincinnati Reds on the last day, overtake them for first place on the last day of the season. The NL West champions, would have been the Los Angeles Dodgers. They would have had a one-game playoff with their rivals, the San Francisco Giants. The 1994 season they would have been tied with 81 wins and 81 losses. That would have been amazing, and they would have had a one-game playoff. Dodgers would have won that game because the game would have probably been in Dodger Stadium. They would have finished with 82 and 81. The NL wild card would have been the Atlanta Braves with 91 wins and 71 losses. The other achievements that would have happened: Tony Gwynn of the San Diego Padres would have finished with a .402 batting average. He would have been the first Major League Baseball player to finish with a .400 at season batting average since Ted Williams in 1941. And also, Matt Williams would have broken Roger Maris's record for most home runs in the season. I predicted he would have had 64. He would have hit a home run on the final day of the season to break the record. Then he would have hit two more home runs in that one-game playoff, which would have counted for the regular season. But the Dodgers probably would have won with an amazing home run by somebody, probably Mike Piazza. And other achievements, there would have been many players who would have hit 50 home runs. Ken Griffey Jr. and Jeff Bagwell, to name a few. And a lot of good pitching performance. Probably Jimmy Key would have had over 20 wins, and David Cone would have had over 20 wins, and Ken Hill and Greg Maddux and a few other pitchers. And here would have been the playoff matchups in baseball for the divisional series, which would have been on ABC with the Baseball Network, and here would have been the division series. For the AL, it would have been the New York Yankees beating the Cleveland Indians in 5 games, and also the Chicago White Sox would have swept the Texas Rangers in 3 games. In the NL, the Montreal Expos would have beat the Los Angeles Dodgers in 4 games, and the Atlanta Braves would have beat the Houston Astros in 5 games. And the ALCS would have been the New York Yankees beating the Chicago White Sox in 6 games. And in the NLCS, the Expos would have beaten the Braves in 5 games. And the 1994 World Series would have been the Montreal Expos beating the New York Yankees in 6 games to win their first World Series championships, and it would have been 3 straight years that the World Series championships would have been in Canada. And the 1994 World Series championships would have saved baseball in Montreal. They would have gotten a new baseball-only stadium, open air in downtown Montreal, and it would have been very, very amazing. And also, if that happened, probably you would have seen probably an expansion team in Washington in 1998 instead of Tampa, Florida, or something like that, because you would have never know what would have happened. Now, this was I was predicting if this occurred, but we could dream and stuff like that what would have happened. But this would have been a good thing in baseball. 1994 would have been an amazing year for baseball if the strike never happened and they got a CBA squared away, because 1994 would have been an amazing baseball season if it was played to its conclusion and stuff like that. You had so many good stories going on and stuff like that, but it was too good. The owners and the players were too greedy and stuff, and that was the last baseball work stoppage to date, and it's been over 20 years of labor peace. I hope it's 20 more years of labor peace, because we don't want to see any Major League Baseball season interrupted again because of a strike or a lockout or something like that, because it's not fair, and it sets the game back many years. The strike of 1994 set Major League Baseball back a few years. Some cities never recovered because of the strike. Montreal never recovered. They moved the team 10 years later to Washington, D.C., and it took several years for cities like Cincinnati and Pittsburgh and Toronto to recover from the baseball strike. So that's a thing that's in the past, but I just really hope we do never see another baseball work stoppage again that cancels a World Series. This is Rich signing off for the night for the last time. I'll see you later, Facebook friends and YouTube followers. And tomorrow will be my blog of the 10 greatest New Jersey Devils players of all time, okay? Good night, Facebook friends and YouTube followers. See you in the morning.